So nowadays, a lot of people have winter programs or they work out indoors. One of the main things that I want you to focus on is when to load at different stations. So there's loading in a game where the pitcher's on the mound. There's loading when somebody's throwing you soft toss. There's loading when somebody's throwing to batting practice overhand, and the load is different for each one. So what I want you to get used to is when to load at the proper time for each station. Load is imperative for success in hitting. When you're sitting here in the batter's box and you're waiting for the pitcher to get set, you're gonna have your hands in a rhythm. You're gonna have your hands set somewhere around here in this area near your the back of your head or wherever you're comfortable with. You're gonna have a little rhythm with your hands. And once the pitcher sets and he separates his hands, that when he gets in this position right about here, that's where I suggest you take your load. So all the load is taking your hands from your set position back. So you have rhythm to bring your hands forward, throw your hands when the ball's coming in. Now, the timing of your load could be different for everybody. If the pitcher's throwing really hard, sometimes you want to get your load started when he gets down here and separates. So if the pitcher's throwing a little harder or a little softer, sometimes you want to wait until he gets his arm back to load. But for me, I'd like to load at the same time every time, no matter how hard the pitcher threw or how soft he threw. So for me, I'm in set position here, and I load when the pitcher separates his hands, then I'm ready to go. So the load is just simply here in set position, bring your hands back, so you're ready to throw your hands forward once the ball comes in. So for instance, somebody's throwing to you from the pitching machine, you want to be loading as the pitcher, whoever's throwing you the ball, who are loading the ball for you. You want to load as that person who's loading the pitching machine. So concentrating again on the load, when you should load. When somebody's here feeding you balls for batting practice, generally the person feeding you the machine is going to show you the ball. So whoever's feeding you the ball, hands up here, gets their hand in a higher position, they're showing you the ball. As soon as they start moving their hands down, that's when you should get back in your load. If you wait until that ball is being dropped into the pitching machine, which I see a lot of, it's too late. That ball's going to be on top of you, and you'll probably swing through it, or it'll be by you before you know it. Now, if somebody's sitting on a bucket with the L screen and they're flipping you balls, the load is different. It's not the same as when they're loading a pitching machine or if they're loading as they're throwing in a live game. So if somebody's sitting on a bucket and they're flipping you balls, you want to load as soon as they separate their hands. They'll grab their ball, and as soon as they separate their hands there, you want to load. When you're loading with throwing soft toss, the pitcher, whoever's throwing you the soft toss, as soon as they separate their hands or their hands get right about here, this is when you want to load. If you wait till their hand starts coming forward and they're releasing the ball, it's too late. You're going to be standing a short distance away, and that ball's going to be by you, or you're going to rush to get to the baseball, and you're going to struggle hitting the ball consistently. So your timing for your load is in soft toss is when the pitcher separates his hand and gets right about here, anywhere in here. If you wait till here, you're probably going to be too late. If the L screen is set back a little more, and now they're throwing you a little bit of live batting practice, then it's almost like a game situation. Once the pitcher separates his hands, you get a little low. That's for live BP. If he's throwing BP really hard, you might want to move. So you might want to do your load as soon as literally as soon as he moves his hand. If he's flipping a little softer, you might want to take your time with your load, or load a little bit later when the arm gets over here. So those are a couple tips that might help you with hitting batting practice indoors, where you can get your time down constantly and consistently.